Srtv. Innovative content, global audience.
A very good morning to you viewers from the world's capital city, London. I'm Princess Kessy, and this is the weekly bulletin. Of course, we have a very beautiful week. It's been beautiful week, and of course, but regardless, we have a lot of trending news stories coming from no other place than Nigeria. We'll talk about politics, business, agriculture, anything that is to news headlight this week. You're welcome. I have with me this morning a very big fish. I call him. I will talk about issues like this. Public affairs analyst, political analyst is no other than Mr. Andrew Essen. Good morning, sir. How are you
Thank
doing
you.
today?
Very fine.
My guest is a team lead, crack media, and former editor of Leadership newspaper. Good morning, sir. Nice to have you as always.
Thank you very much for having me. It's nice to see you in person.
Finally, Mr. Andrew. After following you for like how many months to be on my
I,
show, yeah, it's
so,
good. Thank
I,
God you're much better today, and so
I,
sorry about your health. Yes, sir.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So quickly, sir, we have a lot of trending issues coming from Nigeria. A lot of
Yeah.
issues is regarding to which will put the focus today. Let's start from those federal capital territory and the minister, the new minister, Wike. Yes, so he has been. There's been trending stories this week of how he will bring down structures, buildings affecting the master plan. But you know, a lot of people have the opinion that he's moving rather too fast, and even there's an accusation that if you want to stick to the master plan, okay, then that means we still have to bring down the villa and the National Assembly. This is what has been trending for days now, and of course, we know that the economy is very harsh right now. Nobody's finding it funny the way it is in Nigeria. But we see that the minister is not even willing to listen to anybody. Now, do you think there's something that is very peculiar with our ministers? They don't build on legacy. They come and they start all over. Meanwhile, they don't have much time. And before you know, their time is gone. Projects left undone because they didn't improve on the ones they have. Most time they tend to start afresh. Now, what's your take on this, Mr. Andrew?
Well, first of all, since the coming of all the ministers, everybody is keen to deliver and everybody is keen to make a statement. Now, for Barrister Nyesom Wike, the former governor of Rivers State, he made some very strong statement, understandably. Now, it is also important that you look at the man himself. He has energy and he's somebody who wants to do. I want to judge him by what he said. And one of the things he said, which was key to me, for instance, and having living in the Federal Capital Territory, was he would rather have some deliverables than having bogus agendas, and at the end of time, he doesn't have anything to show for it. Agreed that some of his rhetorics were quite harsh, but true to it, there are some issues that really need to be tackled. Let's be fair to him. I've never met him one-on-one. In the course of my journalistic practice, has never crossed borders with him. But I think that there are issues that are on ground and that he knows. For instance, he made some deliverables. He said that there were some deliverables, for instance, the street lights. That he has to achieve that if you are on waterways. I know some of the things he said came out strong, but the truth is that these are things that need to be done. For instance, 2 days ago, I was driving on the Kubwa Expressway, and you could see these headers. I mean, crossing the road. Before now, it is people who stop for cars.
I was right going now, to come to that because he did say these are some of the things he wants to eradicate.
Yes, and we agree with it. Before now, it is people who wait for cars. Animals wait for cars to pass. In this day and age, surprisingly, it is cars that will wait for human beings
In
who
a
have
place
brains.
like Abuja, a federal
Exactly,
territory.
exactly. Who have brains, who are human beings. So these things must be checked. There is a high rate of insolence in the Federal Capital Territory, and this is not supposed to be. That is at one end. Now, he also made mention of um, uh, shanties growing around within the Federal Capital Territory, which must be checked. And I agree, because this over time has bred insecurity within the Federal Capital Territory. There's no gainsaying. There's no gainsaying. Another issue which he said was that there are so many built up houses that have been abandoned. Okay, give people these houses at a reduced rate. No, you have estates. A typical example is on Kubwa Expressway. There are over 4 or 5 estates with humongous buildings there, and nobody within the last 7 years that have occupied those buildings. Well, that naturally gives room for criminals to have hideouts. So these things were, I know some of the other things he said were pretty harsh, but again, at a point, I think in this country we will need somebody who is proactive. Because some of the deliverables he said he was going to are not something far-fetched. It is not something that will wait 8 years or 4 years or 3 years to see it manifest. Things he said we can begin to measure him in the next month, in the next 2 months, in the next 3 months. Street lights is not something we have to kneel down and pray to the heavens for us to have street lights working, for instance. So in the next 3-4 months, we should begin to see that and begin to check boxes whether or not he has delivered. I think in the long run, we need to give, yes, his rhetorics may have been hard. There has to be strategic communication, but again, these things need to be done. And I think in the next few weeks, we should begin to properly come back here and reassess him to see if he has done these deliverables. Yes.
Wow, well said. And then there's this argument, I don't know, the spokesperson of Atiku PDP presidential campaign, Daniel Bwala, is
Yes.
now arguing that if we can insist of carrying on with the master plan, sticking to the original plan. Now, this is what I went on Twitter, and the thing was that GOG, and they are saying that he is insisting that because originally Asokoro and the Villa, the National Assembly, are supposed to go down as well. Now, do you
Yes.
think this is a statement targeted at weakening his plan, or just because he is from PDP and now he's working with the opposition?
Now I'm also in tune with that line of argument that the seat of power, if we want to go by the Abuja master plan, the seat of power must go down. In fact, some military barracks that have sprung up within the central will have to go, the National Assembly and so on and so forth. Now, let's also remember that government owns this land. And so if you say the seat of government will have to go down, then what is government originally owns this, especially in this north. Government owns the land. So where government structures are cited, that is outside that's outside the question. But again, let's look at the spirit of the intent of what he has said. I'm not so eager to play politics with this. I want people to look at the spirit and the intent of the things he has said. I'm not holding brief for him. Like I said, I hope an opportunity will be given in the next 2-3 months for us to reassess these things he has said. Again, like I said in my opening statement, that the spirit and the intent of what he has said is that we'll begin to check and make sure that Abuja is a capital city and competing with other capital cities in the rest of the world. I think that is the spirit and the intent of this.
Wow.
But of course, now the Aso Rock cannot go down. Aso Rock cannot go down.
That will be a very hard nut to crack. And we also saw a statement from Daniel Bwala as well, saying that FCT minister is a glorified commissioner. Now, what's your
No, absolutely. That's a wrong statement. His standard is equated to even a state governor, even above. Of course, he will do the biddings of the president. Now, I think that politics will have to, politics will merge with this because he's of the PDP extraction, serving in an APC government. So and that will play out. And for me, I think it's for them to begin to, it will make the polity interesting. They shouldn't overheat it. But again, that's just a political talk. That is a glorified commissioner. Well, of course, he is in the employ of the Mr. President, so the president can hire and fire him as the case may be, since he's not elected into that office. But again, he has work to do, and for me, he should hit the ground running. I think he has. He has been he has been going to important places, not sitting in the office. So let's give him the benefit of that. In the next 1 or 2 months, we can come back and then hammer him or praise him as the case may be.
Okay, that would be nice. And then also coming from Bala as well, the Daniel, he said that they
Yeah.
were PDP we expel Wike at the appropriate time. Now I want to ask you, Mr. Andrew, we live in a country where, as though if you are not from the ruling party, you are not supposed to do anything with them. But we saw that this administration is doing something quite different. He brought in
Yeah.
Wike, which is a very strong opponent from the opposition party. Now, what's your take on this? Do we continue to live in a country where we are APC party, and so because we're in power, we can't do anything with PDP, knowing fully well that you have capable hand from the other party that can deliver, just like Wike, even though people thought Wike would have been the Minister of Work, Power, Education, something very critical that we need as a people, not just be restrained to FCT alone. Now, what's your take on these anti-party issues and crises?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we've reduced politics to the fact that people who we know have a track record of delivery cannot, work for Nigeria because they're in another. It's unfortunate. And for me, I felt it was interesting. I was really interested to see how it will play out when Wike's name came out. Now, whether or not you like the man, and he keeps saying this, his track record in Rivers is to speak for him. Those people who are criticizing him should come out with their own track record. And I want to stress this. I'm not holding brief. I'm not a media aide to former Governor Wike. All right. But if we go by deliverables, and I'm happy with what you said, that we all hoped he would have been in the Ministry of Power or Works because of his aggressive nature. We know that this man can deliver. If he puts his mind to it, he can do it. Now again, FCT is also very central as a seat of government. Less important to the mind of the president. But it's unfortunate, really, and it is sad that because after elections, let's face the fact, after elections, it's about delivering for the people. This is what is important right now, about giving people the needed dividends of democracy, and that is what we should be important. Let us hold Wike accountable to the fact that has he delivered. Let us hold the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Honorable Betta Edu, accountable to the fact that has she delivered on the mandate she has been given, and leave whether she is APC or PDP at the moment. It will ultimately show when they come to, Mr. President comes to seek for our ballot again in 4 years' time. And we will say, okay, these people have not helped you actualize your mandate. So in that case, we cannot give you our votes, or let us reward you because these people have functioned. I think that is what is important. In advanced countries, in saner climes, this is what will be the center. Have people's lives been touched? Have they been better off since you came into office? And yes or no will determine whether you have a second shot at government. I think that should be what we should be discussing now. We are seeing what is happening in African countries. So I don't want to go there. I don't want to overshoot myself. But again,
drag you into there because we even saw from a lot of headlines this morning is still
Yeah.
all around, revolving around the coal, and of course, our neighboring countries are
Yes.
ECOWAS as well. We do really
Yes.
hope that Nigeria will be safe, and our
Yes.
president.
And that is why what we are saying is very key. Because people, the truth is, and I've said this over and over again, people have given you the benefit of that. In the next 3-4 months, people will hold this government seriously at the jugular if things are not, because people are not finding it easy. Okay, we are willing to do this sacrifice, so you must meet us halfway as well. This is the issue on ground.
Well said. We do hope sincerely that we look back in few months from today and we'll have reasons to applaud Wike. We all know him as the working governor. We used to know him as a working
Yes.
governor. So please, we should
Yeah.
now know him. We will be happy to know him or refer to him sometime in the future as a very good working minister,
Minister.
so that we can see
Absolutely.
some other changes. But you know as well, Mr. Andrew, that the economy is not very friendly. Situations are
Mhm.
very, very bad right now. So we do hope
Yeah.
also that he will put this into consideration while trying to bring down our buildings, especially anything that will affect the masses, that we are more
Yeah.
concerned about
Yeah.
people. Now,
Absolutely.
there was a statement also credited to the Anambra State Governor, Chukuma Saludu, saying that Tinubu inherited economy like a dead horse, but standing. Now, my point on that statement is this, Mr. Andrew. You all
Yeah.
saw this. You campaigned that the economy is bad. The president, we need to do more infrastructure. You already saw how the country was before you came into power. So are we supposed
Mm.
to, at this point, still be roving around how the economy is dead, how he inherited a dead economy, and that is why everything is the way it is right now?
Well, it is always very interesting with Nigerian politicians. The past administration also used 8 years to blame the other administration. The other administration also blamed the previous administration. We keep blaming ourselves. I think people are tired of hearing these stories. We know what the issues are. It is easier to say when I get into office, I will make a loaf of bread to be 200 naira. It is easier to make this promise. When faced with reality, believe me, it shocks you to your bone marrow. I think it was when I was at the corridors of government, when I served a former minister, that I began to know this. It is easier when you are outside. It's just like it's always the spectator who looks at football that knows that Ronaldo or this other person, Messi, should play like this. Place that person in a local football field, you will see that he will mess up. I think they underestimated the issues that were on ground before getting.
Grand.
And this is why briefings are always important. Try as much as possible to get briefings before making pronouncements, because that will guide what you are going to say. You may not overshoot your deliverables. So this is critically the issue. We know that things were done wrong, and we are beginning to see them. But again, you said you had the magic one. Get to work. I can't stress that enough. Get to work. It's not about saying the economy is like a dead horse. Okay, saying that, how will it help the ordinary Nigerian? You elected this. You signed up for this job. So get to work. Get the people who know how to navigate these murky waters. Get the brains behind, and also listen to the pulse of the people. I'm happy. One of the things I saw, I hope it will continue, was when he said he was going to give cash transfers to vulnerable Nigerians, and there was a massive outroar against it. And I think the president was wise enough to withdraw
To withdraw
that policy, and trying to find the idea is, now that we have agreed to be paying, shell out several amounts of our monies we don't have to pay for fuel. This subsidy you have removed. Let us begin to see practical solution, and stop telling me that you want to buy buses, you want to buy this, when we are not going to see them. Intervene in food. Let us have light, so that we don't buy fuel for car, buy fuel for generator, buy fuel for this. If we know we are fueling car alone, let us at least have light. Let us have power. so that the ordinary barber will not collect 700 naira to barb a small child's hair. These are the issues. Put monies. Let's put money where our mouth is, so that at least the ordinary Nigerian can have a sense of belonging and not be frustrated. There's despair in the land. Honestly, there is palpable despair in the land.
And I know also you don't want to talk about the wave, the wave of this coup that is actually everywhere
Mm,
around
mm,
us. But what do you
mm,
think? And now, President Tinubu did make a statement that there will be no relief for Niger
mm,
until the military is reshuffled or reshift. Now, what's
mm,
your take
mm.
on this? What do you think we'll do as a nation? Because you know this quote. Even me, I didn't want to bring you there. I didn't want to go there either because it's
Well,
quite deep.
it's something something we have to talk about. Really,
It's
it's something
quite
we have to
deep.
talk about.
Now, what do
Mhm.
you think we do as a nation? Nigeria is a country as well that a lot of African countries look up to. It's like a big brother in Africa, and then we're
Mm,
seeing this wave that is very, very close to Nigeria.
mm. Yeah, and this is why what we are discussing is very timely and very key. Now, God forbid it happens in Nigeria, and I think uh, uh, our military, going by what they have said, our military have restated confidence in that they will stay within the barracks. But let us look at the underpinning issues in all these African countries that military personnel have intervened. In Gabon, for instance, they were bringing out drinks on the street to celebrate military intervention. When people are suffering, people are in despair. God forbid that this is akin to the Arab Spring. I mean, it's moving like a bug. Arab Spring started with one man pouring fuel on his body and burning himself up on the streets. Now, this is our own African Spring. It's happening. If African leaders will not sit back and intervene in their countries, believe me, it may not be military people spearheading this coup. It may be the populists themselves going to the street, attacking government offices. When I see that I cannot put food on my table, and I can see a government official driving 5 cars, is it urine that they're using to service these cars? No, they will drive with ACs, 5 convoy of cars, and I can't even put fuel in my own car. I don't even have half tank. And then at some point, I know some things more than these people. Because you have the chance doesn't mean you should abuse it. And this is the crux of the matter. This is the crux of the matter. And African leaders must begin to, in fact, not African, let's narrow it though. Nigerian leaders
Nigeria. Because
must be
the
must sit up.
statement says, Mr. Andrew, the statement says,
Mm.
no sanctions relief for Niger without positive adjustments. Now, this is coming from President Bola Tinubu, says
Yes.
socioeconomic sanctions imposed on Niger Republic will be lifted without positive adjustment by military junta.
Yes, yes, and of course, at that level, they would find a way to help an African brother president. That is understandable. But again, while the African adage that when you point your finger at somebody else, know that four is pointing at you. So while advising that there will be significant changes in Niger, we also know that you have to also do a lot of work at home to restore and enhance confidence from your people.
Wow, well said. We do hope that whatever it is they have to do to make sure we restore peace and sanity, especially the
Yeah.
leaders, because they are the major problems we have. If
Yes.
countries or institutions or economy were to be okay and people were even living up to a standard, so at least I don't think there will be aggravation and issues left and right. And then
Hmm.
there's a news as well that says return of fuel subsidy, subsidized education. Dean of Bonu Elders Forum, Professor Khalifa Dikwa tells President Tinubu's administration. Now, return for a
Hmm.
subsidy, subsidize education. Now, this is coming from Khalifa this morning, Dakwa. Now, what's your take on this? Because there's been this argument, there's been this debates about whether or not the first subsidy should remain or they should bring it back. Because Nigerians that really, if I've seen in all my years as citizens of Nigeria, this is the first time I will see that there is an economy that really that I know and understand that there's an economy that really got to every single person, not just the poor, middle class. Everybody is actually feeling it. Now, what's your take? Do you think we should go back to where we're coming from?
Well, as pleasant as it may sound that we should go back to fuel subsidy, the damage and we have facts available. The damage to the economy has been unprecedented because only a few, if I'm to borrow from Honorable Patrick Obayabon's big English, only a microscopic few, only a microscopic few Nigerians have been feeding fat. In his words again, living in Byzantine luxury, while others live in penury. I think and I believe it's a painful sacrifice to make. What will be even more painful is that having made these sacrifices, and Nigerians are very understanding, having made these sacrifices, where is the interventions going into? Now, bringing back subsidies will be a policy somersault, and I think the president doesn't want to do that or will not do that in the short term. Now, monies have been gathered. Where are they going to put these monies into so that the Nigerian can feel impact? I think that will be the discussion right now. Now, if I have to shell more money to buy fuel, let me at least know that price of food is not also going up. Let me also know that sending my children to school will not break my neck. Let me also know that I won't be shelling more for security, shelling more to service my car because the roads are bad. Now, these are the issues. If I'm not paying more for these other things, these other components of life, feeding, accommodation, education, those monies I'm saving from there can now be channeled back to buying expensive fuel. This is the issue. But if I have to pay now, as at this morning, Daily Trust carried that 10,000 naira has been added to a bag of rice. Which is the main food.
I was going to bring you to that news as well because it's one of
exactly. It's intertwined.
And this is something that has to do with every common Nigerian. This is what they practically live on. I don't think there's any household you go to and there is no rice. This is just very easy for everybody to get to access. And at this point, with the hike in price, where do we go from here?
These are the issues. These are issues germane as they are. I mean, if I have to pay more for fuel, buy 20 or 30,000, 35,000 naira fuel, where do I now have the money to buy 45 or 50,000 naira bag of rice? And I'm not going to eat this rice in isolation. I will buy tomatoes. I will buy ingredients to cook it. And so where do I have this money? Even if I get to buy this rice, am I going to shove it into my children's mouth raw? No, these are the issues. So where do I get this money? Believe me, people have packed their cars. If you go on the streets of Abuja today, I made a phone call with someone before coming on this show to prepare myself. Today, ordinarily Friday, people roll out their cars preparing to close from work and then relax. But the streets of Abuja are empty. As of today, I'm not speaking of yesterday. I'm talking of today. It's as if the people are despair. People have despair. Truly, people have laid back because instead of going out or paying for this, well, let me use that money at least to eat to survive. You can imagine if I've not eaten this morning and I'm coming here to talk to you, the kind of vulgar language that will come out of my mouth because I'm angry and I'm frustrated. So the sooner Nigerian leaders begin to intervene in some of these things, the better, sincerely.
Well, we see how that go, and then we really do hope that something will be done as a matter of urgency, because this is something that is
Yeah.
quite affecting the whole
Yes.
market. Now, I'm going to take you to the states as well, where you know that Wike as was nominated. And we saw that in Bayelsa State, there's a little drama. Now Wike is saying that they will have to apologize. PDP will have to apologize to him and some of the PDP members for him to work with them on the Bayelsa election. Now, what's your take? There's this back and forth. I know we've gone there before, but this is Bayelsa State we're looking at right now.
Yeah. Yes. Interestingly, the week started with a funny statement from both APC and PDP, putting Minister Wike or Barrister Wike on their campaign teams. APC quickly withdrew that and distanced themselves from that statement. That is the thin line you have to walk in, until if he decides, well, up till now he says he's not going to, he's not leaving the party. That they would have to, it will be interesting to note or to see how it plays out, whether he will indeed go serving in an APC government, but also saying that the PDP should take over government. I don't know how it's going to play. It's going to be very interesting, and this will form analysis that we are going to see. He's going to walk a very tight rope in that. It's a very tight rope. But again, I really don't see a PDP apologizing to Wike in the soonest possible time, and I also do not see former Governor Wike going to Bayelsa State to campaign, at least for now. He has an excuse that he will face the administration of the FCT. So we would really love to see how that plays out. But for me, as a political analyst, I don't see him going to the state anytime soon to campaign. I don't see that happening.
Well, we know that Wike, Wike is a hard nut that is not easily. We already know Wike. I bet every child in Nigeria, adult, we all know him.
Yes, yes.
Things should be delivered like what we said earlier. We should leave above that politics, that a place where you say, oh, it's the PDP and APC.
Absolutely.
So that
Absolutely.
we need capable hands. We need people
Absolutely.
that can deliver, that dividends, what we have been looking for. Now, there's this very topical issue this morning. Federal government suspend Nigerian air shut hold Lagos International Airport October 1st. Now, we know that Lagos is a business hub in this country. And we know that even though provisions will be made, but we know that whatever you do in Lagos, this could hurt the economy to a standstill, even if it's just for 1 hour. Now, what do you think we do? We know that that airport has been under construction, even that of Abuja. And maybe this is why people were actually clamoring for Wike, because we know that these are abandoned projects where you have issues, especially talking about airport, international airport that connects us to the world,
the rest of the world. Yeah.
Yes, the haste to make sure that some of these projects are done and are done to a logical conclusion. Not each time you see a new minister is the same old story, is the same thing they want to do now. What's your take on this? Because knowing fully well that Lagos is one of the major capital city in the world.
Yes, and sad as it is, that in fact, from the beginning of the week, I think there was even an issue where the Minister of Aviation, Barrister Festus Keyamo, met with FCT concerning land allocation on the airport, and because this is sad, because the past minister, Hadi Sirika, made a lot of issues about the giant strides he had done. I don't even want to go back to the sad incidents of borrowing an aircraft and bringing it and masquerading and saying that Nigerian air has come on stream, only for us to be inundated just 2 days after that it was a hired plane that was dressed up.
Yes.
Uh, this shows you
Simple.
this shows you the rot. And so if they close the runway for an important maintenance, as they say, and carry it out, I think it's not a too much a price to pay, because it will be terrible if a big airliner comes to that runway and crashes. I think it will be more terrible than having almost a hundred plus lives wasted because of maintenance that had not been done. Now the issue is since we still get back to Mr. Wike, if this thing is going to be done in 3 months, please let it be done in 3 months.
3 months.
Let's not come to a project that should last 2 weeks. It's lasting for a year, and then monies and more monies and more monies are being expended on it. If we sit down and we say, okay, the cost of this rehabilitating or refurbishing this runway or this airport is going to be XYZ amount, please let it be there, and journalists and civil society should hold you accountable to it.
Accountable.
This airport is supposed to be for 3 weeks. Let it be closed and let it be rehabilitated within that 3 weeks. If it means putting a gun to the head of the contractors doing it, please do it, because it is important to the economy. It's important to the livelihoods of people. That is the issue. But if we don't close it, if we don't do the needed rehabilitation, then it is possible that down the drain we are going to pay for it dearly. Lives could be lost, and we would have to close it for an even longer time for evacuation and for rehabilitation. So I think this is the issue. It's not just about saying we are going to close down that airport, but tell us that it is going to be XYZ amount of days or months, and let us hold you accountable that every 2 weeks you come and give us an update, either on your website or sending press releases. This is how far we have gone. This is how far we are going. This is how far we intend to go, and this is when we expect it's going to end. So, but on the face value, I think it is important, and I think it should be done, because it is a gateway for the international community to come into our country. Imagine if you see rot just at the airport, it colors your imagination about the whole country.
Wow, well said. Now, away from that, let's move to labor now, the organized labor in Nigeria. Now, where
Yeah.
there's a statement from LNC saying that Tinubu's government's policy unprecedented wickedness to the poor. And now the government is still insisting that we met the country in a very bad shape,
Yes.
very bad shape. And all we're trying to do is to make sure that we revive the economy. And then labor is still insisting, it's targeted. Whatever you're doing right now to revive the economy is actually targeted at the poor, because you can see that the effect of the subsidy removal, and of course, nothing has been done, even though they talked about palliative, which we know that we don't even know how that money is going right now. I had a news on my show on Monday that said that they had 2 billion naira or so, but he has not seen the money, but he's very positive that you're governor, the monies will go around. So, and I was even jokingly asking him, so do you prefer that you're giving a fish or a net to fish? And he said both. And you will be surprised.
Yeah. Exactly the point we have tried to stress, and I'm so glad at this program, and the point that we have tried to stress. Now, it is the labor's job to consistently and continually hold government accountable. This rhetoric will not stop. And I remember, I think in your radio show earlier in the year, when we talked, I told you the next 3 months will be key to this. They will give it a bridal shower. They will hug you in the first 1 month. But after 100 days, believe me, they are going to come hard at you, because you signed up for this job. So you can't begin to say from day one you gave us a wedding present that you are going to withdraw subsidy. In fact, let me tell you what happened to me on the day of the swearing in. I think I had below half tank in my car, and I was
Okay.
going for a TV interview.
Okay.
And I saw fuel that morning, and I said no, I wasn't going to buy it. And once I come out of the studio, I will buy.
You just buy.
Immediately I came out, I couldn't buy till I had to buy black, patronize the black marketers. Now, people are going through a lot. People are going through a lot. This subsidy issue has hit into the very has shook the core of Nigerians. Believe me, they have shook the core of Nigerians. But we want to see this palliative and how you are going to roll out with it. Like we said, if we keep going like this, God forbid, by the end of this year, we'll not be speaking the same language we are speaking. The English will get hotter. Labor will continue to do its job. Labor will not give. Believe me, if they settle this, Labor should, in the right frame of mind, what they are, you will keep agitating for an egalitarian society, even though it's a far off. It is Labor's job to hold government accountable.
Timetable.
So even if they roll out palliatives now, Labor will still have some other things to agitate for, and that is their role. That is their role as watchdogs for Nigerian workers. And I think every society should, if we're like US, that the way they attack their presidents, I think there'll be so many arrests. The idea is to keep government and government officials on their toes. That is the idea. So that after that 4 years, you see the American president, see Barack Obama, for instance, when he came into government, he had black hairs, but by 8 years, his hair was white. He's even enjoying retirement. He's enjoying his retirement more than he was when he was in government. But conversely, in Africa, if you make me a local government chairman, believe me, my skin will be smoother than the way it is. I'll be looking fresher after 4 years. Trust me, my beard will be thicker than the way it is. And it's only in this part of that governance seems to be enjoyment. It's only in that. So this we're not saying go and die there, but again, it's a call to duty, and we should see it as such.
Okay, so we applaud we will always applaud the organized labor because they stand for the people. Yes. And yes, there's a statement also from the Vice President Shettima saying that Tinubu plans 50 billion naira rehabilitation of the Northwest and Northeast. Now, we've seen over the years, this is not the first time they are bringing, are budgeting so much money for rehabilitation in the Northwest and the Northeast. Now, what's your take on this? Because most time, like we did say about the palliative funds as well, it's not about budgeting the money. The money go through the appropriate channel or be used appropriately.
Nigerians are not be the government. Let me put it that way, are not bereaved of very beautiful ideas. Our problem in this country is not ideas or policy statements. It's not it. Our problem is implementation. Honestly, if you see policy documents at all levels, at some point you remember that former Governor Peter Obi, when he was Anambra State Governor, said he used Millennium Development Goals to work within. He worked within the ambits of the Millennium Development Goals for the modest achievements he recorded. Now, if you go to our MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies, you'll be surprised at the policy documents we have. It is not our problem. Implementation is it. Now that you have said you have released billions of naira for the Northeast, will it go to the Northeast? And again, you would also know that it is not only the Northeast that is inundated with problems. The South will come up. The Southwest have their own issues. So you must, as much as you say you are budgeting this XYZ amount of money for a certain segment of Nigerian society, one, let it reach them. Two, let us also see the visibility of the things, the monies you have reached, and then hold the people you have given those monies accountable. And also make sure that you spread this love around to all geopolitical zones so that they have a sense of belonging. Not that tomorrow the South will rise up and say oil is coming from our side and our environment is tampered with and we're not having a run for our money. The Southwest will also come up. We are the ones doing this and we are the ones doing that and we're not have. Let, as much as you budget this money, which is good, intervene. It's also Nigeria. We are not sending this money to another part of the world. It's Nigeria. So the development of the Northeast or Northwest is also a part of Nigeria. But make sure that these monies reach them and make sure that other parts of the country are carried along in your in government policies. Yes.
And also, the Srtv, the vice president, did say that poor governance responsible for banditry, kidnapping in Northwest. Now we see that we have the new minister of defense. What do you think we do? How do we re-strategize? What's the new thing? What's that thing they've not done before we should do? Because if you look at the Northeast critically and Northwest, you find out that they have ravaged these places so much. People
yes, truly
on a daily basis, even close to Benue here. The other day I was speaking to somebody from Benue, and you will be shocked that they no longer have a community. The place is like a desert. Everything, every building, the place is just been turned into robots. Every house, buildings there. And now they are stranded. They have been in the IDP camps, no help coming from anywhere. Now, what do you think that the Minister of Defense should do differently? Because this is the people we're talking about, the lives of the people.
I am happy that it is the Vice President, no less a person, that is raising this issue. Having himself been a two-time governor of the hotbed of insurgency, Borno State. I'm also equally glad that the Minister of Defense is no less a person than a northerner and a former governor of Jigawa State, who was a chief executive and chief security officer of his state. I am equally pleased that the Minister of State for Defense is also a former governor of Zamfara State, which is also inundated with security challenges. Now, as chief executives of the state, of their various states, it is now, they now have it at the platter. And I think I grew up in the north all my life. I'm from Akwa Ibom State, but my umbilical cord is in Kano State, for instance. I grew up, I was bred in Kano. I speak Hausa better than Ibibio.
Oh, really?
Yes. So it is interesting that the cake has been brought to their table right now. So you would not have anybody to blame. And I want the Northerners to rise up to hold their leaders accountable, because President Tinubu has given them all it takes. It is one of you that is Minister of Defense. It is one of you that is Minister of State for Defense. Now, it's just not only when they visit the northern states. It's not only about saying raising your hand and greeting them. Hold them accountable. Point them to and I'm happy. The Northerners have a very vibrant way of discussing issues in their radio stations, in their TV stations. Hold your ministers accountable for this, and they must deliver. It's not being in Abuja and making beautiful speeches. We want to see them going to the forefront, sitting with security chiefs and security experts, literally having sleepless nights, because they want to make sure that the northern region and indeed the whole country is safe and secure. Because while they are also tackling insurgency in the northeast, there are issues in the south and the southeast and southwest. So these are the issues. I am happy that it is, because if you give a kith and kin something to do, he will know that I will go back to these people. It's not about the Minister of Defense is from the south. So when the issues of of the North is going on, is when he finishes his term, he'll go back to his region. No, this region affects you. And when you are done in Abuja, you will go. I'm happy they have houses in that place. Hold them accountable. It's not about raising your hand and greeting them and hailing them and speaking fanciful things. Yes, this is our own. They are your people. So hold them accountable to these things. Monies will be. I'm happy that every country's budget, the highest goes to defense. So it is now that we will see. Maybe the people who held the offices previously were not doing the right thing. Now they have appointed you people from that region. So please wake up and do the needful. Again, billions have been appropriated for. So let us see it. This is the time to work. This is the time to hold them accountable.
Away from the Northeast now, the AGF and CBN governor threatened with arrest for shunning reps probe. Now, what's your take on this?
We will have several of that. We will sincerely have several of that. It was in this country that somebody who was a customs CG did not wear the uniform for 7 months, and they threatened him with arrest and probe and all that. And he served out his term, and he finished and left. We are not interested in these threats of arrest. I mean, hold this. They can do it. Don't just make it political statements. Hold them accountable, so that we see it. Nigerians are tired of seeing these screaming headlines. Honestly, these screaming headlines does not hold water. When you see that it reverberated when the president came in, didn't say much, had the former CBN governor out of the office, had this one. When we see those ones, we'll begin to now discuss. Having removed them, what did you see? And having seen that, what steps are you taking so that these things do not happen again? The conversation will go up. But if we have screaming headlines, the threats to arrest this person, threat to hold down this person, Nigerians will not take you seriously, honestly.
Now, there's a major headline here that caught my attention that says opposition presidential candidates beg Tinubu for appointment. Are we supposed to go get to a place where people now beg for appointment, or we appoint people that are credible? And a lot of people, I follow that trend carefully today as well, and I saw the comments. I was just laughing because people said, that means you wanted to even go into power in the first place for just one reason, a selfish reason or the other.
Yeah. Yes, we have had a case in Nigeria where I think a former deputy governor went to be somebody's PA or something like that. We have seen somebody in high office going to take a low office because he still wants to be in government. Now that is a comic relief for all I care, that he now begs for appointment. I think it's terribly wrong for him to have even made that statement. I think it should have been that they consider what you can do and then reach out to you. There are other ways to serve. It must not be in government. You are not in government, but you are serving. I am not in government right now, but I'm still serving in my own small way. So I think that fellow should go and retighten. You try and try. As much as we talk about the former President Buhari, he contested 3 times, and on the 4th time he was blessed with the office. So go back, dust your shoes, lick your wounds. If you have the funds, if you can build the network, you start all over again. But begging for office is completely ridiculing yourself and putting yourself up as a laughing stock. Nobody will take you seriously.
All right, I'm just going to throw a few questions. I'll let you go because of time. Now, we saw that Kano State has slashed school fees of indigenes by 50% because of the current situation in the country. Now, do you think every other state or every other government should key into this?
And without missing words, I think it's the right way to go. Kaduna State government also did the same thing. In fact, they brought out a memo. The state-owned university, polytechnics, and other tertiary institutions. some 50%, some 35%, as the case may be, depending on how much they take. I think this is the issues we're saying, something that will affect the ordinary citizen. I think every state that has this should find a way to intervene. If there are so many secondary schools in your place, intervene. If there are universities in your place, intervene. Go to the marketplaces, slash down certain things, access to fertilizer, and there must be price regulatory agencies to monitor these prices. And it is true. Now, if I can cut down monies from, and I have, for instance, 3 children in the university, and you cut down 50%, do you know what that means to me? It relieves stress. I can now take part of that 50% and make sure that I give them money for feeding and for books.
Other stuff.
So that makes me live longer. Instead of hiking I have to pay 100%, and I have to pay for fuel, and I have to pay for. People are fainting because of this. Schools are resuming. Secondary schools are resuming in the next 1 week. Already, parents are beginning to have high BP. So if I hear that my son's secondary school fees have been slashed in 50%, I will go and drink water. At least I will drink water and know that that I have. I think to answer your question directly, I think it is a way to go, and states should look at this properly, honestly.
And then they said news here is coming this morning is on the headline that said El-Rufai may bounce back as Sanusi orders mount pressure on Tinubu.
Yes, I saw that. In fact, stories from the grapevine said there were pressures on presidents to make El-Rufai a minister, and there are serious pressures with influences from the former emir of Kano. Well, I'm not surprised, because when the emir of Kano had issues, the former emir of Kano had issues in Kano, it was to El-Rufai's arms that he ran to, and they have remained close. Whenever Kaduna State has the Card Invest, the investment summit, the former emir features prominently. So I'm not surprised. I cannot independently authenticate that is the issue. But again, does El-Rufai have capacity? Yes. But again, he was a minister of the Federal Capital Territory 20 years ago. 20 years ago, he was governor. Are you telling me that 20 years after, and he said something, and the video is viral, it's online, that he has boys and people he has mentored over these 20 years that can do that work even better than he does? So that's another discussion, that is on the debate. Does he have capacity? I believe he does. But again, that's why we must be careful about our public statements. There are videos that he has said he can never be minister because he has boys that he can recommend that can do that. He's over 60. It's a time to do things he loves. He has served the country as BPE 4 years before he was a minister, and he was a minister and he was a governor for 2 terms. So he should be allowed to rest. Now, whether he truly wants to rest is another thing entirely. But does he have capacity to deliver? I think he does. So we'll have to see how that will play out, whether they will give him that chance to come and serve.
And finally, the president is urging Nigerians to be patient, that with determination they will succeed and Nigeria will be great again. Now, do you think at this point Nigerians, they have the patience? You are a Nigerian, you know what you're going through. I know what I'm going through. Everybody's going through the same hardship.
Yeah.
And do you think we have the patience to wait? And of course, what other things? How do we go and nest other things? Because as it stands, the agricultural sector is just there. The oil is just there. A lot of things, but Nigerians will see that we're still at this situation where it seems though nothing is working. Of course, like you said, the power. If every Nigerian could see the electricity, they will be relieved to an extent because take for instance you said the barber and of course the saloon woman, people doing ice block or drink soft drink business, and you find out that when the people see the electricity they just live on their own quietly. And we live in a country where some people are still even using estimated billing. You don't see the light, you keep paying the bills, and now the president is still telling us so be patient. Is it patient we need right now? Because also look at the first subsidy removal where a lot of workers are stranded at home. They are not able to go to work as it stands because if you can't buy the fare and you don't have the money, what do? You sit at home. And that is why the labor has been up and doing now. Do you think as patient, do you have the patience? Do you think we have the patience to give at this point? Because it's still Nigerians that are pushed to the wall.
Yes, I think the phrase elastic limit is something we should that comes to play now. We have reached the elastic limit. Now it's either you make sure we retract, have some breather, or you drag us further and we cut into two, and we have what we have in Gabon and in Niger and in other African countries. I think that is the decision. It's unfortunate that he's coming at the President Bola Tinubu is coming at this time where tough choices have to be made. It's unfortunate, but again, Nigerians have had enough, and it is time for him to begin to intervene. For instance, just speaking on that light issue, if I buy food stuff that will last me 2 weeks, and I can't put it in the freezer, and within 3 days all this food are bad, I will be frustrated. And I may, as gentle as I am, when I look at my family and I cannot meet their needs, and my child says he can't even eat, I am pushed to do crazy things.
That is true.
This is the issue. Let's be very frank. So just that light will affect how I preserve food and make sure I have food for my children, which will not make me go to the market every day, and which will save.
Okay, we have a little bit of network issues there. That was actually the last question for Mr. Andrew. He has done quite well this morning to these topical news, national issues we are having in Nigeria. And we do hope, yes, you have a little bit of network. Just continue, wrap up before we close the show.
Yes, in wrapping up, I think Nigerians have had much patience, and it is high time the government meets us halfway so that we don't move to the precipice and our nation does not implode. Let's keep praying for our leaders, and we hope that things will turn around in the soonest possible time.
Yes, I will hope also that it won't get to what we're seeing in other African countries. That is the prayer of every well-meaning and sincere Nigerian. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Andrew Essien, for being on the show. You did quite well. That is why I love to bring you on political issues, because you in depth, not just the surface. Well, we're going to bring you on this show again, Mr. Andrew. Yes, I'm going to chat you as regarding to that, but definitely I'm going to have you again. Thank you so much. I know your viewers is not be feeling very well. I still have to pull in here this morning. Well, take care of your health, and thank you so much, Mr. Andrew, for being on the show this morning. He is the team lead, crack media, and former editor of Leadership newspaper. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Do have yourself a very beautiful day and stay calm.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That would be a good place to wrap up the show this morning. Yes, I've been on the show with Mr. Andrew Essien. He did justice this morning to the show, and of course, it's always good to have him on the show. These are the national topical issues we talk about. National issues. What do we do? At some point, if we don't, like he said, we'll keep talking. We'll keep saying it until it gets into their head or their ear, anywhere in this or their hearts, so that they will do the needful. Yes, we need people that will work, not just coming to say, capturing headlines, like he said. on the newspapers, on the news, but they go down to the grassroots, to the people, to the common people, and to make sure that we feed their impact as a government. Well, thank you so much for being on the weekly bulletin. Today we'll come your way again next week. I remain yours truly, Princess Kessy. And before I go, don't forget to hit on the notification bell. Follow us on our social media handles: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. All you have to do is just hit on the notification bell, subscribe, like, and of course invite somebody to the page. Leave us as well with your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Remember that peace is priceless, so let's always give peace a chance. While you are out there, drive carefully, don't drink and drive, and of course stay hydrated, and everything will be all right. See you again next week.
Srtv. Innovative content.